ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people say the NBA regular season doesn't matter. Now, I'm not of that opinion, to be honest. But I kind of see why people say it. And there is one thing in the NBA that I feel does make the regular season mean less than it could mean. Make it less important than it probably should be. And that is the play-in tournament, which, I watched all the play-in games this season, and honestly, some of them were fantastic. Like, the Hornets versus the Miami Heat in the play-in was one of my favorite games of this past season. But I couldn't help but feel like, wow, I'm sitting here watching a 9 seed and a 10 seed have a game where the winner will then play the loser of the 7 versus 8 seed, and then the winner of that gets to get swept by the Pistons. And that's not exactly what happened. The Magic ended up playing the Pistons, and that went to 7 games. But the play-in tournament feels really unnecessary. For one, because it's a bunch of teams that aren't that good playing each other in a tournament to then go and lose to the 1 seed or the 2 seed. Because how many times, realistically, does the 8 seed ever beat the 1 seed? How many times does a 2 seed ever lose to a 7 seed? Not that often. It feels super unnecessary. All right? I mean, like, just the idea that a 10 seed can even get into the playoffs some way, somehow, is pretty ridiculous in my opinion. I mean, it's only happened one time. The Miami Heat played the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round. Miami was the 10 seed. They made it out the play-in. And what happened? They got beat by like 40. 4 straight times by the Cleveland Cavaliers and got blown out. Did we really need Miami in the playoffs? Was that a necessity to have the 10 seed be in the playoffs? Is it a necessity that Miami even gets a chance, that the 10 seed even gets a chance to be in the playoffs? Why? Why does a 35-win team that is the 10 seed, it's not like a 35-win team's the 8 seed, like, that might happen in the 80s or the 70s. No, a 35-win team as the 10 seed, like 5 games back behind the 8 seed, why is that even a possibility for them to make the playoffs? No, they don't deserve to make the playoffs at that point. They have, seriously, it's ridiculous that the 10 seed, that the 9 seed have to do that or get that opportunity. It makes no sense. They're not that good. The 7 seed and the 8 seed already aren't that good and already get swept or gentlemen swept more often than they don't in the playoffs. Why are we then expanding the amount of mediocre teams in the playoffs from, it's just the 7 seed and the 8 seed, or it could be the 9 seed and the 10 seed? Why are we expanding the amount of opportunity, the amount of mediocre teams that get the opportunity to play in the playoffs? It's ridiculous. And that brings my next problem with the play-in, is that basically, if you want to play postseason basketball, if you're halfway through the season and you're not having a good season, but you still want to think you have a chance, even though you're the 9 seed or you're the 10 seed, you will have that chance. It doesn't matter how good or bad you are. If you want to be in the postseason in any form or fashion in the NBA, if you want to be in the postseason, you will be. The only teams that don't make the postseason, don't play at least one postseason game in the NBA, even if it's just one play-in game, the only teams that don't make the postseason in the NBA are teams that don't want to. That's it. And the Sacramento Kings. But mostly just teams that don't want to. Teams that are actively tanking are the only teams that go out there and don't make the postseason. This is why teams like Miami and Chicago have been mediocre for so long. It's because they don't get punished for their mediocrity. They have the ability to tell themselves, well, we can still make the postseason, even though there's 5 games left in the season and we have 33 wins. You know, they have the ability to say, well, we still have a chance. They shouldn't be able to have that chance, okay? If you are mediocre in the NBA, you shouldn't be in the postseason. The postseason should be for teams that are actually good. Miami's not good. Okay? That's what it is. The Clippers were not good this past season, yet they still got to play postseason basketball. The Warriors were not good. They got to play postseason basketball. The Warriors were the 10 seed, and they were 1 game away from making the playoffs due to the play-in. Come on. Like, what are we doing? The 10 seed should not be in the playoffs. The 9 seed should not be in the playoffs. When the 8 seed, or better yet, even the 7 seed, when my 7 seed Phoenix Suns won like 7 more basketball games than the Warriors, why did we have to play them to get to the playoffs? No. What? That's what makes the regular season more meaningless than it otherwise should be in some sense. Again, I don't think the regular season is meaningless, but I think it would have more meaning if you play the entire regular season and you end up with 7 more wins than another team, but you lose 1 game that statistics don't even count in between the end of the regular season and the start of the playoffs, and then boom, your season's over, even though you did better than them. What is the point of having a good record if you can go then lose to a team, had the possibility of losing to a team that's below 500, you lose 1 game to them in a game that statistics don't even count towards literally anything, and now your season's over because of 1 game that didn't happen in the regular season or in the postseason. That is absolutely ridiculous. Crazy. Okay? First of all, not only is it, again, it makes the regular season mean less, it's also kind of unfair to the teams that actually win games in the regular season. Okay? Now, those teams being the 7 and 8 seeds, who, again, aren't that good themselves, but they lose 1 game to a 10 seed, and now you're not in the playoffs, even though you won 7 more games, 5, 7, 8 more games than them? Come on. That's ridiculous. So again, like that's a big problem I have with the play-in is you don't even have to be a good team. You don't even have to be a mediocre team to make the playoffs because of the play-in. Again, Miami this season, the Warriors this season, the Clippers, not really good teams. They just straight up not good teams. But they could have made the playoffs over better teams because of games that didn't even count. Games that didn't count towards anyone's statistics. They don't keep track of the points or the rebounds or the assists or anything. I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous. And I think it makes the playoffs less valuable as well. If we can just allow 10 seeds and 9 seeds in the playoffs. I'm almost at a point where I don't even think the 8 seed should be in the playoffs because it's just so come on. Technically, my Phoenix Suns were the 7 seed, but we played the Thunder, who were the 1 seed in the first round. And my Phoenix Suns got absolutely crushed by OKC. And you look at the Trailblazers, who were the 8 seed, they got crushed by the San Antonio Spurs. I'm almost at the point where I'm like, we either need to make the first round series for the 1 seed less games, make it a best of 5, okay, instead of a best of 7. Make it a best of 3 maybe, or maybe just get rid of it entirely. Let the 1 seed get a bye. Why should OKC win 64 out of 82 games and then go have to waste their time playing an 8 seed 4 straight times? No. I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, maybe the 8 seed shouldn't be in the playoffs. We definitely do not need the 9 or the 10 seed to even have a chance at making the playoffs after the regular season's over. An 8 seed or a 9 seed and 10 seed should have no business being in the postseason. Just straight up, no business. No business. There's no reason they should be in the postseason at all. Whether it's 1 game, 2 games, or they somehow make their way in the postseason and play a first-round series. It just shouldn't happen. Again, OKC should not have to play, at least 4 games versus an 8 seed. No less a 10 seed. The gap between how good a 1 seed and 8 seed is typically a pretty large gap. You go from a 1 seed to a 10 seed. Again, it's only happened once in NBA history. It was last year, Cleveland versus Miami. You saw Miami get crushed, blown out in every game. I think the play-in is really unnecessary. It devalues both the regular season and the postseason. I think we just got to get rid of the play-in tournament.